Hey, what's going on everyone? Thanks for tuning in to another video. Today I'm going to be tying a micro Euro bugger. As you saw for the thumbnail, it is essentially a small woolly bugger tied on a jig hook. So in the vise, what I have in here is a jig hook size 12, and that's accompanied by a 3.2 millimeter slotted tungsten bead in gold. And for my thread, I'm just going to be using a 70 denier by UTC in black. And now to get started, I'm just going to start my thread base right behind the hook. And then because it is a tungsten bead, I'm not going to put any weight, but I want to keep that bead sort of in place, not moving around on me. So I'm just going to push it forward with my thumb and forefinger, and then I'm just going to do a bunch of wraps right behind it to help just secure it in place. And I'm going to bring that back right before the bend of the hook. For my tail, I'm going to be using some olive marabou. And I had this sort of pre-prepped. I like them quite bushy and typically just a bit longer than the length of the hook shank. So I'll start that with a nice pinch wrap to keep it on top. And I'll do 3 or 4 securing wraps and then just check my length just to make sure it's not too long. That looks good there. And then I'm going to continue securing it up the shank. And then before I get on to my flash, I'm just going to do a quick little under the tail wrap. I'm going to do one more. And that's just to help keep that tail propped up while it's fishing. For the flash, I'm going to be using some Flashabou. It's tinsel flash with marabou action. What I'm doing is I just grabbed one strand, folded it in half, so I have 2 working pieces, like so. I'll get those on place on the side. And I'm just going to do 2 or 3 just sort of securing wraps, and then I'll move that Flashabou on the tail where I want it. Because this hook is a little smaller, I don't like to do the sort of the flip over like so and then secure and tie it in like that, just because I feel like it adds more bulk. So I'm not going to do it on this hook. So I'll nip it off, flip my fly over, and again 2 or 3 just to sort of see where things stand, and then make any adjustments as needed. Now it's time to tie in our hackle. For the hackle, I'm just going to be using a Whiting's Farms. These are the 100s pack. These are awesome because they're just like a consistent size, and you know that if it says it's for hook size 12, I haven't found one that hasn't been a matching size. So they are a fantastic little pack. I find them extremely useful, and this is in an olive. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tie it in tip first, so that the smaller fibers of the hackle are at the back, and as I wrap forward to the head of the fly, it's going to use some more of the longer strands to give it a nice little collar. So I'm going to tie that in tip first. And I'll just trim off some of the excess here. I don't like anything near the bead. There we go. Now we're ready for the body. Not going to be using chenille. Even I find like the micro chenille is just too thick for this size of bugger. So I'm actually going to be using a dubbing. This is super bright all-purpose dubbing in a light olive. I'm just going to grab a little bit here to start, and then I'll add more if needed. It's not the easiest to dub this material, but I find the less you have, the easier it becomes to dub. So always just start off with a little bit and you'll get some nice tight noodles. So it looks like I need just a little bit more here. Just a smidge. Perfect. Now we're going to proceed and wrap in our hackle. Do one full turn right at the tail. Some evenly spaced wraps up the body. And then when I get to the collar, or right behind the bead, I'll do, depending on how thick or sparse the hackle is, I'll do a few. As you can see, I've done about, I think, 3 or 4 turns right behind the bead there. And then I'll just wiggle my way through and securing that hackle. And then any of these stray fibers that are coming to the front, I'm actually just going to sweep back with my fingers, which should get most of them. Any ones that are remaining, you can just nip off. Now we're ready for a whip finish. And at the same time, I'm going to try to sweep these fibers back. I still have a few here that are going to drive me nuts. I know the fish won't care, but I'm a firm believer in always fishing with confidence, and this gives me confidence. And last step is going to be a drop of glue. It's one of my favorite things about the slotted beads is that they have a nice hole. You can just like drop a nice big glob of head cement in there. And that'll absorb it. And there you have it. Nice little micro Euro bugger. This is kind of like my secret weapon when, you know, sort of on the water. Everyone's trying everything, nothing is working. And just like, you know, dry fly fishing, sometimes and most times, they're just looking for something a little bit smaller. So, hope you give it a shot. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Appreciate any support. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.